This recipe for spicy pumpkin bundt cake is just right for this time of year, and the recipe will be on marthastewart.com, so don't worry about copying it down. It's really quite simple. 1 cup of butter, which is 2 sticks, and put that in the mixer. If you don't have a mixer, you can do this cake by hand. Takes a little bit of elbow grease, but it's not too difficult. Just make sure your butter is nice and soft when you cream it. And to the butter, we're going to add 2½ cups of light brown sugar. And we'll just dump that in, if we can get it in without spilling too much. Oops. Lock your mixer, Martha. So here we go. Don't eliminate any of the ingredients. Baking is that exact science, and you really should follow the recipe. And for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, spicy pumpkin is so appropriate. Now we have 4 cups of flour, which I am sifting with a wire whisk, and we need to have 1 teaspoon of salt. We have ½ teaspoon of ground cloves. Remember, I said it was spicy, so a tablespoon of ground ginger. 2 teaspoons of freshly grated nutmeg. If you can get the whole nutmeg and just grate it, it's really tasty. 4 teaspoons of baking powder. Remember, this is going into a 14-cup bundt pan, so it sounds like a lot of flour. It's substantial. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And the reason we're adding baking soda is because we have buttermilk. That is going to be our liquid. 1 cup. And we have 4 eggs, which I will add to the creamed sugar, 1 at a time. And you can just use the flat beater with your KitchenAid mixer for this cake, or that big flat wooden spoon. There we go with the last egg. And don't forget to scrape down the pan at least once or twice during mixing. I can see that we have some butter on our paddle, and go all the way down to the bottom of the bowl. And it really looks good. I love brown sugar and butter combination. It's so good. And so then you alternate your dry ingredients with the cup of buttermilk. And while that's creaming, I am going to just spray the bundt pan. Here it is, with a little bit of vegetable spray. We use Pam all the time. That's ready. And add your dry at a low speed. And you don't want to over mix cakes. Oops, coming out, oops. Practice what you preach. Oh, and this looks good. And the last thing you add to the batter is the pumpkin. Now you can cook your own pumpkin, or you can just use a canned pumpkin, and you need 1½ cups. If you're going to cook your own pumpkin, I suggest that you cook it and then put it in a piece of cheesecloth and let it drip for a few hours, getting out all that excess moisture. Otherwise, you might have kind of a wet cake because pumpkin retains a tremendous amount of moisture, and that straining is very important to get all that excess moisture out. And we have just 1 minute to finish up this batter. I'm getting my signals. And we just put this in. Yes. And the pumpkin. 1½ cups. Oh, this really changes the consistency. It's very good. And to get that right into your mold, you're going to make sure that you get that into a preheated oven, 350 degrees for 55 minutes. Stir this up a little bit. Get all the batter into your mold and then put it in the oven. It is so beautiful.